Hello, welcome to Straight Talk with Arun Kumar, where everything is on the table, nothing's off limits. Anything and everything under the sun will be discussed. Topics ranging from politics, economy, people's pulse, public mood, NRI associations, non-profit organizations, you name it, we have it covered. Today is a special day, and the special day is International Women's Day. I wish a happy Women's Day to all the viewers. The reason why I say all is because I include women and men in the Women's Day. It's customary that women celebrate Women's Day. However, I personally feel, I sincerely think, men should also volunteer, if not equally contribute to the Women's Day. I don't care if people think this is an exaggeration, but the reason why I think that's the case is for she gives birth to a she also gives birth to a he. She carries life in her womb. She creates life. In other words, she is the creator of the universe. So many people ask me if you've seen God. I say yes. I see God every single day, and I say this with utmost sincerity. Women are God to me. That said, today, like I said, is International Women's Day. We have a special guest tonight. She has been working passionately for women's safety and children's safety for a long time. She's a gender equality activist, economist, and a social entrepreneur, and she's passionate about children, especially girls, and women's safety. We all heard about the Nirbhaya incident, the very, very, very unfortunate and barbaric incident which happened in 2012 in New Delhi that shook the whole world. Shaken by that incident, she started a non-profit organization called Safety, and she focuses on empowering women and highlighting and educating women on violence happening in the world. She's also been nominated by the White House as a change maker for the year of 2016 United States Women's Summit. She also worked in the recent past for United Nations in the Interactivity Network in the Youth Development Program Committee for Youth and Gender Equality. She also consulted for the World Bank. She has a PhD in economics from University of California, Riverside, and she also worked as an adjunct professor teaching economics in Occidental College in Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce Dr. Shruti Kapoor as my guest tonight. Hi Shruti.
Hi.
How are you? Welcome to my show.
Thank you so much.
Good. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I
Good.
feel very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Let's start about today's discussion with your organization, Safety. Could you please tell us about your organization?
Sure.
How did you start, and what motivated you to start?
Sure. So Safety is a registered organization in India, and we work towards educating and empowering young women and girls against all forms of violence. And I was motivated to start this right after the Nirbhaya case. Like millions of people, I too was very touched by the brutality of the case, and having lived all my life in India, I grew up in India, I've experienced sexual harassment firsthand. I was at a stage where I just didn't want to be a silent bystander. I wanted to actively do something about young girls and women's safety, and that's when the idea of Safety came up, and we started working on how is it that we can educate and encourage women and girls to use their voice, raise their voice against violence. And so Safety was started in 2013, and it's been an incredible journey since then.
So you own the company? You're the CEO?
Yes, I'm the founder and CEO of Safety.
So Nirbhaya, the very unfortunate Nirbhaya incident aside, so what do you, in general, there's a lot of rapes, unfortunately, and gang rapes, which is even more barbaric, which happen in India on a periodic basis. What do you think about these situations? I mean, what do you think are the reasons behind these acts?
I think there are several reasons why violence against women and girls is rampant in a country like India. So to begin with, let's call it out, our society is very patriarchal in nature.
True, I agree.
Men and boys grow up with a sense of entitlement. They feel like they deserve a lot of things, and from a very young age, girls and women are taught that they are here to serve first their fathers, then their brothers.
They're
at some
inferior
point. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think as a result of that, so the patriarchal setup is something that people need to change their mindsets about. Then there are other things like lack of education and awareness, sex being used as a form of entertainment. For a lot of people,
objectification.
It is objectification through media of women. When we show rape scenes in movies, we are really giving the message out to millions of people that it is okay, to sit and watch, with your family such scenes, and then the hero will come and say the girl, what are we saying here? We are saying that it is okay to have all of this kind, to have rapes in our society, and to sit and really watch them and tolerate them, and even make fun and jokes about such a serious and heinous crime. So I think we definitely need to change the mindset. We need to change how we talk and how we think about crimes like violence against women. And then there is women themselves, they, I think, need to be encouraged to take charge of their personal safety. Growing up, what was the messaging that I was receiving? My brother will take care of me. Raksha Bandhan, what is that? That's a form of saying that my brother or the male is more powerful and they will protect you.
Or father.
And then when you get married, it's your husband. Right, and then when you get older, it's your son. So we're constantly telling our girls and our women that we need protection. There is somebody out there to protect us, and so they're always looking out for that policeman or that system or that father or that brother to come and protect. We need to change that messaging. We need to start teaching our girls that we are strong, we can take care of ourselves. There has to be an exit plan in our heads on how, if somebody attacks us, what is it that we do in that situation. So I think there are multiple reasons, and then of course there is
I think it's also the macho mentality, which has been ingrained in men all the time. Absolutely. That anything is okay, and they think they're the most powerful. I know I'm a man myself, but I really am ashamed to be a human, and more so a man. I honestly think, Shruti, human is not a deserving word. It should be human or something. Because I'm so ashamed of all the atrocities I see. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So I think we gender stereotyping. We are constantly gender stereotyping men, women, and I think we must also not restrict ourselves to binaries. They're all genders.
Correct.
We give the messaging that men need to be strong, they don't need to cry, boys cannot cry, women are the weaker. So change all of those messaging so that we as a society and as a community are standing up against violence.
There's about 35,000 rape cases being reported by the National Crime Record Bureau, the NCRB, in India, at least in India. So that's a horrific number. I mean, just to supplement what you're saying. And
just a reminder that these are the cases that have been reported. So there's so many cases which are unreported, where women and girls don't even come up and share or speak. So there is so much underreporting. So the data is always underreported. If we are talking about 35,000 cases, I'm sure there are like so many more. According to the UN, 1 in 3 women face sexual harassment during the course of their lifetime. That's a really large number, and it take a minute to let that number sink in. Look around you, and 1 in 3 women that have probably been harassed or have experienced some form of sexual violence.
See, this is what hurts me. There's so many unreported cases. As much respect I have for the sensitivity of Nirbhaya incident, it's a shame. And everybody, the entire society, that it took like a horrendous situation like Nirbhaya for us to wake up, right? There are many other unreported cases, but it takes like a monstrous incident to happen before we wake up and have we woken up? And to what extent have we woken up? That's another question. Have we learned?
Have we learned, and have we made any changes? And is it just enough to hold candlelight marches and raise our voices on social media and then sit quiet for the next case to happen?
It's very symbolic, and
for a lot of people it's symbolic. For the government, for communities, for society. So I think we need to question ourselves and our motives, and what is it that we are doing on a day-to-day basis when it comes to violence against women.
Correct. Because even the post incident situations, like for example, let's say a very unfortunate situation like rape happens to a girl. In some cases, it's a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
That's I do not even know how that happens. 2-year-old. Anyway, so when situations like that happen, it's also, I think, the unsupportive nature of the society. Even if a woman is strong, we keep talking about, everybody gets on a dais, holds a mic and talks about empowerment of women, how women need to get strong. But when the women are strong and they lodge a case or FIR, first incident report, are we matured enough, I mean a society, to accept that? Because the women are looked down upon.
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
I think it's a big problem in our society which deters victims from reporting, from speaking out.
Let alone support.
Because what do we do? Let's just take a very basic household unit. If today, I as a daughter have been sexually harassed or raped, what is the first thing most parents will tell you? Shh. Don't tell anybody, especially if it was your cousin or somebody you knew. So they will try to,
hush it down.
Exactly. Like they
not even your family members, let alone outside society.
So, okay, if the next step you do have the courage and you are able to report it, then the society collectively blames you. What were you wearing? What time of the hour was it when you were out? Who were you out with? So you are constantly battling questions which are, people are questioning your character, your intent. It is not, we are not questioning the rapist. We are always questioning the victims and putting them through much more agony and pain than what they've already been through. And in that situation, how can you blame the victim if they don't want to come and speak, because nobody wants to believe them. The first thing you do is you start attacking the victim and start, questioning their intent and the truth in the whole situation and in the whole incidents. And as a result of it, so many people just stay silent. We also need to remember that speaking up against any form of violence takes a lot of courage, and it
yes, it does. Especially for women, especially in Indian society. Especially
for women, even for men. Any victim, whether it's a male, female, LGBTQ, anybody, it takes a lot of courage to own it, to accept it, and to then openly and publicly share with everybody that this has happened to me. And some people take years, people take their own time to, and when they finally do open up to the society, and in return the society will blame them. They will say, why did you wait for 10 years to report this? So the victim, I think, goes through a really hard
mental trauma
and so I think we as a society are not really ready to accept when victims openly share about their stories. We don't know how to react. We don't know how to be good bystanders. We don't know what to say and how to support them.
I see we're going to focus a little more on India. I see a lot of funds being allocated, that could be central government or the state government. There's so many crores of rupees which goes towards women empowerment education. I think that's all useless and trash if it's not utilized for the right purpose. Just allocating funds is just for namesake. That could be electioneering, it could be anything. Absolutely. As long as it doesn't reach the people in the lowest strata.
Absolutely.
Because I disagree with you slightly. I know it takes courage for everybody, but especially it takes more courage for women. If something happens to a man, even if he's timid or even if it's strong, courageous, doesn't really matter. He can at least expose what happened openly. But for women, I think it takes a lot of, and in many cases, their own family don't support them.
Families don't support it, and yes, maybe it takes more courage for women, but I think men have a harder time. Let's say if there is a rape victim who is a male, because of the way the society conditions us and tells us how men are strong and they should not cry and they should not complain. I think it's even harder for men to open up to such things, and we are seeing more and more male victims coming up and reporting about these crimes. So regardless of whether you're a man or a woman or anybody, any gender, being through, a victim of violence is never, a good thing. It's always a painful experience.
I like you say any gender.
Yeah, because
it's not binary anymore.
It's no longer binary. It's
not binary.
It's no longer binary, and so I always try to correct myself and not just say man and woman.
Right.
And that's what I think we have to start changing the language we are using. So at homes also we need to. So coming back to your question about allocation of funds, it is one thing to just allocate funds. In the case of Nirbhaya case, there was a Nirbhaya fund of God knows how many crores. Of course. Nobody knows what happened to that fund. Where did the money go? How was the money used?
What's accountability?
There's no accountability at all. So I think yes, the government needs to be more accountable, but we the people also need to ask the government and hold them accountable. We need to take proactive measures in.
Right. We have a caller. Let's come back to the. Hello, welcome to Straight Talk. Can you mention your name and location?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, hi. I am Suresh here from New Jersey.
Hi, Suresh.
Yeah. Hi, Arun and Shruti.
Hi, Suresh.
Shruti ma'am ji, we appreciate whatever you are doing for women welfare, and happy Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Suresh.
Actually, I have a comment. Actually, I mean, whatever you are talking, just a comment on that. Yeah, I mean, recently we witnessed. After Nirbhaya case, recently, though we have seen the Nirbhaya case, recently we witnessed a woman being harassed in Bangalore and Kerala. I mean, in latest news. So, I mean, even though we have gone through Nirbhaya incidents, still we are seeing these incidents actually. So, I mean, my suggestion is like persons like you. I have gone through your website. It's very good, ma'am. Safety, all these things. So, my suggestion is persons like you should put pressure on government officials to announce very strict measures on these issues. Like they are not coming and announcing very strictly. So still there are a lot of things happening. And also one more question, like I would like to hear from you, ma'am, like what we can do or what measures we can take to stop these things, because it is even giving bad name to our country also. So what are the, I mean, like you think, what are your comments on this?
Sure. Thank you, Suresh, for your questions.
Thank you for calling. We have one more caller and then we'll answer both. Hello, welcome to Straight Talk. Please mention your name. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi. Welcome to Straight Talk.
I am Malvika. I'm calling from US and I have a question for Dr. Shruti.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Malvika. Go ahead.
Hi, ma'am. First of all, your work is very inspiring and thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Malvika.
Ma'am, I believe that I'm asking this question on behalf of all activists who are working towards gender equality. So, shaping young minds especially is very important now. So, how can what should we do to inculcate some kind of a system, education in our education system, or what should we do that we can reach young students and, educate them more about gender equality?
Thank you so much. That's such an important question. Thank you for calling, Malvika.
Thank you. Yeah, let's take Suresh's question first about the measures.
So Suresh raised an important point of what we can do as individuals and as collectively as a society. So the first thing we need to understand is that violence against women is not only a women's problem. Correct. It is the entire society's Correct. Problem. And unless we come together as a society, as a community and try to find solutions, nothing is going to happen. So I always tell people, start from where you are with whatever it is that you have. So start from your home, start from your institution, start from your school, start at the place of work. Raise a voice. If you see something wrong happening, if you see somebody being harassed, don't ignore it. Don't, support the person, raise your voice, do something about it. Right. So as an individual, a lot of people say, what can we do? Right. The government, the police and the Correct. System. Correct. I feel we can do a lot. We can hold, as a community, we can hold the system accountable and ask questions and ask for answers. So today, even after the Nirbhaya case, the reason why there was this mob harassment case in Bangalore, and why so many other criminals have the audacity to still continue to rape people, is because our system is poor. We don't punish people quickly enough, right?
And there's no remorse.
There is no remorse. People know that today I can go rape somebody and I will get away with it. It will take 15 years in our country to get any kind of justice, or maybe longer, who knows, if you
15
get,
is you're being
right?
too conservative.
Too conservative, yeah.
Too conservative.
So I think we as a community first need to accept that this is also our problem. We need to actively do something about it, and start from where you are. You start from your society, your building, your office, community, actively raise awareness on the issue of violence against women. Whatever it is that you want to take up, you want to talk about child safety, you take up that issue. You want to talk about sex trafficking, you take up that issue, and start doing something.
We'll
actively.
talk about those as the show goes along.
And the more we talk, the less taboo these topics will be.
Correct. Every voice counts.
Exactly. Every voice counts. Coming to Malvika's question, she raises a very, very good question. I think we have to start very young.
It's very valid, actually.
Very valid.
Very valid.
That is the only way we can change the society's mindset. Start very young with children. So again, as parents, start at home. Teach your boys to respect girls and women. Teach your girls to respect boys. In educational systems, in schools, we need to start giving gender sensitization trainings at a very, very young age. From when your child is 2 years, 3 years, and you're teaching them how, you have to respect, you have to have empathy. There is no way that such individuals will grow up and resort to any kind of violence or disrespect women or objectify women.
I would go to the extent of adding like a chapter
in
your educational books, textbooks, like gender equality or sex ratios or something like that. That way, we to add to Malavika's point, we inculcate the thing at a very young age, and by the time they grow up, hopefully. They start learning.
I think our educational system needs a haul. We need to start including these, topics on gender equality and the issue of violence and how to keep your child safe. We need to start talking more and teaching our kids from a very young age, I feel.
Right. So. Yeah, just to add, when I heard about a 2-year-old, a rape to a 2-year-old, I wrote a letter that was in Hindi to Maneka Gandhi. She is the Ministry for Women, and I suggested a few things, and I got a positive response from the government, like setting up mobile courts, setting up fast-track courts, because there, like we were speaking before the show, there is no point in giving a judgment, even if the Supreme Court, the highest court, gives a judgment in favor of the woman or the victim after, like, let's say 20 years. The judgment is not equal to justice. The judgment is a mere piece of paper. With all the trauma that can be compensated. What do you think?
And in so many cases, the victim might not even be there for after 20 years.
She might die. We don't know, right?
So I think we definitely need to speed up the process, the judicial process of having some sort of accountability that if today you do this crime, this is the punishment you receive.
Correct.
And it needs to be quick, it needs to be effective, and it needs to be fair, in the eyes of the law, whatever that judgment is. We cannot wait for years and go through the whole bureaucratic process to get some kind of justice for victims.
The situation, at least in India, is so pathetic, Shruti. There's over 2 crore, it's like 20 million cases pending the judiciary. And even the proportion of the judges to the population is very disproportionate. In the France, which is I think about 60-70 million population, there's 124 judges for every million. This is per a Hindustan Times report. There's 124 judges for every million population. In the United States, it's 108. In India, which is a lot more than both combined, there's 17 judges, 17 for a million people. So you cannot, we'll talk more about that, but I don't think all hope is lost
No, no,
I think
absolutely
all hope
not.
is lost because
I mean, the fact, just since the Nirbhaya case, in the 3.5 years, we have seen a lot of positive things also come out.
right.
A lot of various types of NGOs, and there is more awareness amongst women and girls. They have started taking self-defense. They have started speaking up. They have started using social media to raise awareness and their voice. So there are definitely positive things coming out of since the Nirbhaya case. But I think we do have a long way to go.
Right. Okay, talking about, sorry viewers, we're trying to cover as many topics as possible related to women today. So we'll go to the property rights.
Sure.
Again, they're all related to injustice to women. So all these topics. So there's been an act, I think in 1956. Correct.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the act.
The Succession.
Yeah, Hindu
The
Succession Act.
Yeah.
There's also limitations to that, but for the first time, they announced not unconditional the rights on the property, on the ancestral property.
Equal rights
on the ancestral property. However, that was only for a joint family.
Yeah.
And then they came up with an amendment to that act in 2005. I remember the date distinctly, September 9th. I think Justice Lodha and Justice Kehar were the judges, and Kehar is currently the Chief Justice of India. So they come up with this act that there can be an unconditional right of women over ancestral property.
Yeah.
So what do you personally think from your experience? Why did it take, like 2005 is like 21st century and we got independence in 47. Why do you think it took so long for us to realize the importance of women? Again, it's an open-ended question.
It again goes back to the whole patriarchal issue, right? It's who are controlling these laws, who are making these laws. How many women do we have in these positions of power where they are making decisions about what the law should be and how the judicial system should change, right? We have been following cultural and customs and practices for millions of years, and that's how it has been done from one century to the other, from one family, and that's how it's always been going on. And I think one of the reasons for a very so it's all very interconnected. So the reason why today parents, so many parents in India prefer a male child over a female child is all connected to property, inheritance, laws, and
the male preference.
Yeah, what the boy child can do and not do versus the girl child, right? So I think again to change, it's all about the attitude and mindset of people. How they view women as second-class citizens of. Again, where is the woman's place in the house, taking care of children, taking care of the family? Why does she need property? Her husband has it, her father has it. Why does the property need to be in her name? But it is only now with changing times as more and more women are moving out into the labor force market. They are earning their own incomes. They are getting that financial independence. Are we seeing changes being demanded? And for those reasons, I feel so it's a great thing that the amendment has happened, and now we do have equal rights.
Correct.
Yes, like anything else, any and everything, it takes a long time for these changes to happen because they're so entrenched in our custom, in our society, that there is a lot of resistance.
Yeah, so ingrained in our tradition itself.
Yeah,
male preference is in our tradition.
Yeah, it is, right. And if you try to change a tradition, there is so much resistance from everybody. You yourself question yourself when you're trying to break away from a tradition so many times. You're self-doubting, right? So I think it does take a few generations before we see positive change. But the good thing is that we are at it and we are constantly at it. And so going further, our generations ahead of us will see better things, and there will be better future. They will have a better future in terms of gender equality.
We're always lagging. That's what hurts me. If we lag in technology, we're behind. That's fine. Catching up is not a problem. But if you lag in equality, that's a major problem. You cannot blame anyone else except your own culture, your own tradition, your own people.
Your own self also.
Your own self, because in Iceland, I think, was the first country to give unconditional rights to women on ancestral property. That happened in 1850. That's 19th century. So even the US, right? Even I think
we are sitting here in the US. I still don't believe it's a gender equal society.
You don't?
The US?
Yeah.
We can have another show on that. We have plenty of examples from the recent
Yeah, no, I know where you're going, but I think relatively, US is much ahead of India. Don't you think? Relatively.
Okay, we can. I think it's a debatable topic.
Okay.
India has already had a first woman prime minister, whereas
correct.
the US on that front,
Right.
it's been decades, and we've never had a woman president in the US.
Yeah.
So
Well, that
Yeah.
front, I should
I mean,
support India.
relatively,
Yeah.
in some areas, yes, there is gender equality, but the US still lacks paid parental leave.
Correct.
It's one of the worst countries, first world countries, making millions of dollars and having,
Trillions of GDP.
yeah, and we don't have any paid parental leave. So in a lot of sense, we are trailing behind when it comes to gender equality.
In India's defense, yes, I must add one more. Vijayalakshmi Pandit was the first United Nations General Assembly Speaker. That was way back in 1960s or something,
Yeah.
70s, something like
Yeah.
that, right?
So
yeah, in a way, yes, we can't, yes.
we will talk about it on
Yeah. But yes, India has its merits in that route, but not something to be
Yeah.
proud of. So, okay, so let's talk about human trafficking.
Sure.
Many people think human trafficking is just selling, kids or girl child. It's a lot more than that. It's kidnapping, it's selling, abduction. There's a lot of things. What's your take on this? How does
it's
this
a
affect
heinous
India?
crime. It is, to trade in human beings, in women's bodies is absolutely, it's the worst form of crime, and it's unfortunate that in India this is a very, very, very big problem. So whether it's child sex trafficking or sex trafficking of young girls or women, and again, there are lots of good organizations like New Light in Kolkata. Urmi Basu has been doing excellent
Correct.
work for many years.
Yeah. She's amazing. She's amazing.
Changing, creating impact and changing. But like anything else, unless the government, the society, and the system works together, change is slow. And we don't see it as quickly, and this human trafficking is a big problem in many countries, including the US also. The numbers are
it's
just
a global,
horrifying. It's a global problem.
When talk about numbers, it's
Yeah.
like it's 21 million per the latest ILO International Labour Organization report.
Yeah, it is a
that's
big
just
problem.
a horrendous number.
And it's heartbreaking. If you see some of the documentaries on human trafficking, they start at a very, very young age. And it's absolutely heartbreaking. It's like a trade. It's a flesh trade, and to get away, sometimes victims are unable to get away from it. So, and there is very little awareness amongst us.
Correct.
And with little awareness, we almost are, turned a blind eye to. So again, for a lot of these things, we turn a blind eye because we are not personally affected by it.
See, this is another problem, Shruti. I think. And nothing catches media's attention. And I'm in the media, but nothing catches media's attention until something gigantic happens. So something really, really, really big has to happen in order to catch media's attention. Even then, the government or whichever institutions or bureaucracies involved, there's a lot of commotion. There's a lot of attention. Everybody's surrounding it. There's headlines. That happens for a few days, and then it dies down.
Yeah.
And then yet we wait for another big incident. So that is not working. What do you think?
It's not working because people are, everybody is too busy, and unfortunately today, media. I'm not blaming the media,
Right.
but the thing that we're seeing in the media is, this whole, trying to get the catchiest headline or trying to
Spicy headlines.
Exactly, right? To sell. Media is out there to sell and make money.
Right.
And so when, for example, when a case like Nirbhaya happened, it went international. Everybody knew about it. Of course, it was a horrible case, but every media outlet was talking about it, and it was, blown out of proportion, and it went on for a few months, and then it died out, and now, we are waiting for maybe another case to happen. It will again, capture the media's attention. People will again get on the streets for a few days, and then it dies out. I think again we must We need to look back and see that, what kind of activism are we doing? Is it armchair activism where we'll stand up and, we'll tweet on Twitter and on Facebook and say, yeah, this is wrong and this is wrong, and feel good about, yes, I've done something about this, and that's it. But I think it has to go deeper. It has to go back in your day-to-day life where you're actively doing something about these issues. And again, you can pick your issue. You don't have to be doing everything about every issue, right?
It's funny and shameful at the same time that you say you can pick your issue. Please notice that, ladies and gentlemen, Shruti said pick an issue. That means there are several of them, but you have to pick one. That's just too shameful to even talk about.
Yeah.
But in media's defense, media is very bold. It's fearless.
Yes.
It highlights the right thing at the right time. It doesn't care who's in power. It doesn't really care, and that's how media should be. And we should all be grateful to media for highlighting things.
Yeah.
So I think NGOs can also play a key role. What do you think about the NGOs?
Today, NGOs and anybody can play a key role thanks to social media.
That's true.
To be very honest, you don't have to wait for an NGO. You don't have to wait to get that celebrity status anymore.
Yep.
You have some amazing social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, which can amplify your voice to millions of people instantly. So all you need is passion. You need passion for a cause. Again, I come back to pick your issue, pick your cause, because you need to be passionate about your cause, and you literally can reach out to millions through social media. So yes, NGOs are doing excellent work, but individuals, the youth is doing excellent work today. They are coming up with creative ways on raising awareness, whether it's on violence against women, whether it's on gender inequality, whether it's in engaging men and boys in how to prevent violence against women. We are coming up with excellent campaigns and educational workshops, and social media is giving us an excellent way to reach out to these people.
I think just to woo the people, I think there should also be a financial reward kind of thing for exposing people who do such kind of activities.
Who's going to give the financial reward?
The government. Where this multi-crore assignment to the funds is going? They could use some portion of it. Doesn't have to be millions of dollars.
They could definitely use. In our case, in the Indian case, our government is so corrupt that we don't know where the money goes. I think the private sector should get involved, especially when it comes to issues like women's safety. Today they have the technology, they have the money. They can do wonderful things like hackathons in which young people can, hack solutions on how to use technology to keep women and girls safe. And it doesn't require much. Companies can come up with prizes. I'm recently in talks with a company called X Prize that has come up with a $1 million prize for anybody who can come up with an innovative solution under $40 for women's safety.
For these issues.
Yeah. So your solution could be anything, an app or a gadget or anything. If it's under $40 and it can help a woman in need in terms of women's safety, you could qualify for this 1 million. So I think we need the private sector to get more involved, to incentivize people, to incentivize communities to come up with solutions, and then test those solutions, implement them, see if they work.
Cool. It's a perfect time for a commercial break. It's time for a break, viewers. I'll be back in a minute. Keep watching.
Thank you.
Welcome to Pride of India, Open Talk with Sridhar. What do you do in expert solutions?
We have realized what is the need of the market. People will learn the new way how to hire.
The Kailash of 26 years back before going to USA and today's Kailash, how would you feel yourself today?
That time I didn't have anything. In MBA I was only making $375 per month. It was very tough.
మీ శుభకార్యమేదైనా సరే, వివాహం, జన్మదినం, స్వీట్ 16 ఇలా సందర్భమేదైనా వీడియో రికార్డింగ్, స్టిల్ ఫోటోస్, ఫోటో ఆల్బమ్, ఈవెంట్ లైవ్స్ కోసం ఎన్ఆర్ఐ ఈవెంట్స్ ను సంప్రదించండి. లేటెస్ట్ టెక్నాలజీ, హై అండ్ ఎక్విప్మెంట్, ప్రొఫెషనల్ టీమ్, ఆన్ టైమ్ వర్క్ తో మీ శుభకార్యాన్ని 10 కాలాలు గుర్తుండిపోయేలా చేస్తాం. ప్రస్తుతం ట్రై స్టేట్స్ లో మాత్రమే సేవలు అందిస్తున్నాం. ఎన్ఆర్ఐ ఈవెంట్స్ ను సంప్రదించండి. కాంటాక్ట్ 201-537-7415. ఈమెయిల్ info@nrievent.net.
Hello, welcome back to Straight Talk. So Shruti, so we're talking about the monetary rewards and other kind of solutions to the issues. Let's move on to another issue, female feticide. For people who are not aware, female feticide is an act of killing not years, not months, not weeks, not days, not hours, minutes old baby. And you know what's her crime? Because it's a she and not a he. So people wanna abort, kill baby. I still can't figure my head around it. So that is female feticide, and this happens very often in India. Some of the statistics show that Kerala is pretty good in sex ratio. There's something called a sex ratio. Sex ratio is the number of females per thousand males. Haryana is the worst, and there are also movies made on it. It has 879. I'm sorry. So 879 females for 1,000 males, and on the flip side, Kerala is doing somewhat better with 1,084 for that ratio. So that's the sex ratio which is used by the government to determine the number of females. So anyway, that's female feticide, so killing a girl child. So what do you think, how do you feel when you hear about things like this, killing purely based on sex?
It's I feel angry. I feel like I feel strangulating.
Yeah, I know.
People. It's the most inhuman form, just based on somebody's gender. And again, I actually recently wrote an article on this, on why especially India is so obsessed with having a boy child versus a girl child, and in my research, again, it's going back to the same things that we have been discussing throughout the show. Like when a girl is born, what is the first thing that comes to his head? Some states in India, in a lot of states in India, we are still practicing dowry, even though it's an offense by law, but there is still a lot of giving and taking of dowry. She is a financial burden compared to a boy. Because boys will, they will earn money, they will get a job, they will bring back money, they will bring back dowry when they get married, so that is also a form of income.
Treated like an investment.
It is an investment. You should see some of the jokes that are circulated around, that if you're a doctor or an MBA from the US, your rates are
price tags.
Yeah, your price tags are different, right? That's the kind of jokes we have. So a girl is always is mostly considered a financial burden in a lot of families, and so when that is why a lot of families are never excited to have a girl baby, and it was so bad in India that now that is one reason you cannot find out the sex of the baby anymore when you are expecting.
Prenatal sex determination.
Right, because a lot of people were aborting the babies the minute they got to know that it was a girl child, they would abort the baby. Going back to property rights, girls cannot inherit properties, boys can inherit properties. Who takes forward the name of the family? The boy does, the girl is Paraya Dhan.
Yeah, legacy and stuff.
Yeah, the girl is Paraya Dhan, she will get married and go away. So these are all, what are these customs and traditions that we have been living for years, and we are telling ourselves the same story, we are narrating the same story from generation to generation to generation. and that is why we see, I mean, in fact, this gender ratio is so skewed in India that in countries like India and China it has become a big problem.
Yep.
Because we have so many more males compared to females, and so when they are going out in you know, when they're ready to get married, there are not enough girls.
Can you believe in Haryana, in some villages, I forgot the names of the villages, they're not enough, they can't find bride, they can't find girls to get married to boys. I mean, the boys
obviously
are
when you're going to kill them when they're, you know, what is going to happen? Where will all the girls come from 20 years later, you know? So I think it's a big problem, and our Prime Minister Modi, you know, that's why he's come up with these
Beti Bachao, Beti
Padhao, Beti Bachao kind of initiatives, where we have now started talking about, you know, how it is a pleasure to have a girl and why it is important to have a girl. And today, you know, movies like Dangal are doing such a fantastic job where they're showing that there is no difference between a girl and a boy. A girl can achieve anything that a boy can achieve. So they have successfully, I hope they have successfully, you know, passed this message on. Change words, girls. Again, it will take a while, but I think it all boils back to what is the messaging that we are giving ourselves, our
India announced the Beti Bachao thing. There's also other states which implemented some schemes to arrest this you know, skewed sex ratios. For example, Rajasthan has a monetary cash award. Haryana has a unique ID, like an electronic card or something, to keep track of pregnant women, because what's happening if they don't keep track, if it's a girl, obviously they're killing the girl. And so is the case in Punjab. Even in Punjab, the pregnant women are supposed to register. So with the government, so they can keep track. Also, West Bengal gives money on a periodic basis, and many states do that. So yeah, we have seen a little bit of improvement, but that's just not enough to in terms of.
We do see, you know, improvements in a little bit of numbers, but I think we need larger initiatives, countrywide initiatives, which can really raise awareness and address this problem. There are lots of states which have conditional cash transfer programs where you're incentivizing, especially rural families, you know, who feel like the girl should be sitting at home helping with the household chores, and so they don't send her to the school. So the conditional cash transfer programs incentivize parents that if you send your daughter to the school, you know, you will get X amount of money at the end of the month, or we will take care of her, you know, meals. Midday meals was one program that was started again. So there are lots of innovative programs that a lot of development economists have come up with again to incentivize parents to educate their daughters, you know, to empower them, to let them grow in terms of economic growth and educational growth. These programs have been implemented in various
Actually, I wrote an article too. I think I sent you that link on the female feticides and Telugu1.com website. If you type my name, you'll get it. So I wrote in detail what the issues are. So what could be some of the solutions for this problem?
I think
one is that monetary thing, and
and again raising awareness. You know, so. Again, I'm going to go back to media. Movies like Dangal have done an amazing job in sending the right message to people. I recently saw an ad by Amir Khan where, you know, he was owner of a kirana, and somebody came and said, "Arey bhaiya, bahut achhi dukaan chal rahi hai," and he said, "Yeah, thanks to my girls." You know, not my boys, thanks to my girls.
It's sending a message.
Yeah, so I think people in position and power who are influencers like actors, politicians, you know, media personalities can use their outlets to send the right message to the audience, to the community, and these messaging need to be sent regularly. It is not a one-time thing. Okay, one time Dangal is made and you forget about it in 10 years, because you have to constantly keep reminding people that no, your girls are equally, they're as good as anybody else, you know, so don't discriminate just based on gender, on sex.
So I would like to share a little thing. So I have a girl myself. So when my girl was born, one of my very close friends, I gave him the message over the phone that I had a baby, and he asked me, is it a plus or a minus?
Plus or a minus?
Yeah, I for a second I didn't get it, but then I said plus.
Yeah.
Because I got what he said.
Yeah.
And then when he came to the hospital and then saw, he said, saying in Hindi, he said, you said it's a plus. I said, yes, it is a plus.
Yeah.
It's a plus for me.
Yeah.
He was so red-faced and he lost face. So but what I'm trying to say is, even from my personal experience, these are true. These are not just research numbers or figures. These things do happen. And that's one reason why India cancelled the licenses of the doctors who were giving out the prenatal sex determination results because it was abused.
Yeah, but I think we also saw in the serial Satyamev Jayate,
yes,
how it is still a big scandal, and how there are still so many doctors and hospitals who on the sly are doing sex testing and sex selective abortions, illegal abortions. So we have a country with billion of people, and so there are positive things happening which is changing this, but there also this problem is rampant, and people are, as long as people want and the desire and need to have a boy child exist, I think this problem will always persist.
We have a caller.
Yes.
Hello, welcome to Straight Talk. Please mention your name and location.
Thank you. This is Ken in New York.
Who's that?
Ken in New York City.
Hi.
Hi. I had a question for Dr. Shruti. I wanted to know what fully inspired you to actually start your activism for girls in that area of the world, in Asia. What inspired you, and what made you want to do something over there, especially, and why that particular region?
Sure. Sorry, I didn't get his name.
Can
you repeat your name? Sorry.
Was it Sean?
Absolutely. This is Ken.
Ken. Okay. Been watching the show?
It's been going great. I'm on the phone. I haven't watched it, but
okay. No problem. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So one of the reasons why I decided safety was, like I mentioned, I was in a stage in my career where I no longer wanted to be a silent bystander.
Correct.
I was fed up of blaming the system. Really active about it, and that's why I started safety. I personally have experienced sexual harassment growing up. I remember many times,
Sorry to
like
hear that.
most, thank you, but like most girls, I was harassed on the street while growing up, and most often told to ignore it. Turn a blind eye, don't say something, just walk away.
It's a standard answer.
Right.
And so I think when I moved to the US, I realized that women's safety and women's freedom here in the US had a different meaning than what it did in India. Right? So in India we lead a very protective life as girls.
Correct.
And we have lots of deadlines. We are told not to go out alone or after a certain hour.
Yeah.
In the US, when I moved here for higher education, none of it was, my safety was my concern, and I had to take care of myself, and I had to find ways to keep myself alert and aware and learn things. And I think that brought about a shift in how I saw the resources that are available here and what women's safety really meant, and I really wanted to use that opportunity and learning and bring it back to the girls in India, to my community, and encourage them to raise their voice, because we all have a voice. We all have a voice. We just have to condition ourselves on how to use it for our own safety. So that was one of the motivating factors on why I started doing more work in the area of women's safety through my organization, Safety.
Did that answer your question?
I don't think he's on the line.
Okay. So okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So any final thoughts? We're almost up on time. Any final thoughts or comments?
Sure. I think this has been really interesting. Thank you again for having me.
Sure.
My message to everybody who is watching or listening to us is, again, If you see something, do something. You know, it is upon us and it is our responsibility to actively do something about whatever issue it is that you are passionate about. Don't wait for something big and drastic to happen in your life, or you know, or incidents to happen to wake up. Start from where you are, whether it's your home. You know, as parents, you can start simply by changing the messaging you are giving to your child. You know, don't tell your boys to play with blue things and your girls to play with pink. You know, change the messaging. Change the messaging in your head that you have been told for generations, and you will start seeing how things change in your life, and the impact that you are making in your day-to-day lives and your communities around your friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, to summarize, you heard Shruti, her comments. We discussed several issues. We spoke about female feticide, we spoke about property rights of women, we spoke about eve teasing, we spoke about objectification of women, we spoke about several other issues. An hour is not enough to speak about all the issues women go through, but we made a sincere effort to touch base on several topics. One comment or one recommendation from my side is March 8th is not the only Women's Day. We should treat every day as Women's Day. March 8th is just a token of appreciation, but I think we should treat every single day as Women's Day. It's only then we'll have respect for women and we'll learn to respect women. In my show, women will always get priority, so if you have any issues to talk about women, we will bring it on my show. If you have any comments or suggestions or feedback, please send it to Arun, ARUN, @tv5news.net. That said, I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you, Shruti. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. We need a lot more Shrutis in this world to respect women and to work towards the cause for women. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, everybody. Namaste.